What is up, guys? My name is Jacob, and I'm going to be reviewing Denzel Curry's new project, King of the Mischievous South, Volume 2. Denzel dropped this album on July 19th, and it is a sequel of his 2012 mixtape, King of the Mischievous South. This album has a lot of influence from the South, from the features to the production style. You have features like Kingpin Skinny Pimp, who is a rapper from Memphis. You also have Juicy J and Project Pat, who are from 3 6 Mafia, Memphis legends. And then also Mexican OT makes an appearance on the album, and Kenny Mason and other artists from the South. So overall, this album has a lot of Southern sounds and a lot of samples, mainly from Memphis. A lot of the samples used on the album are from Memphis songs of the underground, such as Ultra Shit, which is the opening song of the album after the interlude. All of the interludes as well have Kingpin Skinny Pimp like doing spoken words and all that on top of it, so it kind of like brings this atmosphere to the album. The album opens up with an intro with Kingpin Skinny Pimp doing a spoken word, kind of introducing the album and saying he's king of this Memphis shit, stuff like that. And then it easily transitions into the next song using the same sample as the intro. And the album has this consistent theme of transitioning into the next song very smooth. So it's a nice listen if you're listening all the way through. And usually the interludes either use the sample of the song before it or after it, but it's usually the sample after the interlude. So it's a nice flawless flow for the album. My favorite songs on the album are probably Ultra Shit. I don't know. It's really hard to pick my favorites off the album because it is so like high energy and there are a lot of highlights on this album. But Ultra Shit and Hot One are probably up there. Those are my highest, I would say. Scared is pretty good with Kenny Mason and Project Pat. I do like that song. And G's Up is pretty good. Although I will say on G's Up, I wish 2 Chainz did have a longer verse because his is kind of short. That's one of my main complaints on this album, is that when overall the album is pretty good, but some verses are left with like more to be desired, like 2 Chainz on G's Up, Juicy J's verse on Cole Pimp. I do wish that one was longer because Juicy J is, he's a Memphis legend. If it's King of the Mischievous South, you got to give him more room to talk. Once you get through the album towards the end, Hit the Floor with Ski Mask is kind of an outlier. The production style kind of switches up because it's more of the like opium kind of sounding stuff that I don't really like listening to, but that's just my personal opinion. That's one of my least favorite songs on the album. But Ski Mask does work on that beat. I don't think Denzel Curry really matches that beat. This album has a lot of features, including artists I've never heard before, such as Mexican OT, Mike Dimes, and Play That Boy Zay, all of whose performances I did enjoy. Mexican OT on Black Flag. Whoa. Mexican OT's performance on Black Flag Freestyle was very entertaining. I like his flow, and like his voice is very like very enjoyable to listen to, like how he rolls his R's and flows. I think that's very unique. Some features I didn't really like, but they are growing on me, like Tia Corinne. At first, when I heard the single Hot One, when the single dropped and I listened to it, I didn't like her verse initially, but the more I listen to the song, the more it grows on me. So yeah, the only 2 features I really have an issue with on this album are Tia Corinne, because I just don't like the way her voice sounds, but that's just my personal opinion, and Ski Mask, but that's just because I didn't like the style of the song. It's not saying he's bad, because his verse is good for that song. It just doesn't fit the album in my opinion. And also I do wish that Hoodlums, the song with A$AP Rocky, was a little longer. I feel like his verse is cut off really short, but overall the album is pretty good. I like seeing Armani White on here again with another song with Curry. The single that Armani White dropped, Goated, I thought that song was really good, and I like seeing them collab. I would love a project with them too. I think that would be very entertaining to listen to. Some artists on here I might go out and listen to more, like Mexican OT and Maxo Cream especially. Mike Dimes was really good. He was very surprising. I wasn't expecting such a good verse from that, but that song is very good. G's Up is, yeah, I would say G's Up is probably one of my favorites. That song's pretty good. But yeah, like I said, it's just a good representation of Southern hip hop. If you like Memphis rap or that style, like this album is very different from his last two, Melt My Eyes and Taboo, because Taboo had a much darker theme. Like, I mean, the name of the album is Taboo. What do you expect? But this album has a dark trap theme, so it is like a dark kind of theme, but it's different in that sense. Like, Taboo was much more experimental with artists like JPEG and stuff like that. It was much more all over the place. It didn't have a consistent theme. Melt My Eyes, See Your Future it seemed much more introspective. This album doesn't carry those same kind of themes. It sticks to its roots. And if you listen to stuff like 3 6 Mafia, you will find the same themes in this. It's very, like, not to say that the album doesn't have substance, because it's fun to listen to. It's very fun to listen to. But it just does not carry on the same themes that Denzel has been going on, which it shows that Denzel has good variety and he is very good at what he does. He's very good at making different projects that have different feels. And I do like that from Denzel. He's been on a run lately with his singles and his album releases. He's slowly, just climbing the ranks of the hip hop world. And I love to see that, because Denzel's very, very creative and very talented. Another thing about the album that I really like is the album cover. It's very like aggressive, and I feel like that helps like set the tone of the music. But I do like the album cover a lot. It's very kind of like dark in a way, even though it's like kind of simplistic. I do need to look up what Ultraground is, because Denzel mentions it through the album like multiple times, and I just never, I don't know what it is. I'll look it up later. But the dark trap theme is consistent throughout the album, and then it switches up on the Choose Wisely intermission in Coal Pimp, where there's a lot of more like piano and string usage, and it's a lot more lighthearted, which I feel like kind of brings it towards like Atlanta with the soulful sounds. It's a nice switch up throughout the album, and then it goes back to that shortly after on Wishlist, and it kind of brings it back slowly, and then it rounds out on Hoodlums and goes back to the Memphis style stuff. And it even has kind of that G-funk like sound. Like there's like a high pitch, like kind of, I don't know what it's called, but it has that throughout the song, and I really like that. The production on this album is amazing. If you don't like the rapping, the production's good. Hit the Floor is the only one I don't like, but I feel like some people will like it. I mean, it's just one of those songs. It's one of like, it'll fit in easily. A lot of people will like it. I will give this album a 7 to 8 out of 10. The more I listen to it, the more it grows on me, and it's good music to just keep the energy upbeat. I'm looking forward to what Denzel has to make in the future. I hope that he collabs with some of these artists again, such as Armani White. I do like how they work together. And Mexican OT, that collab was pretty good. I did like that. I enjoyed that. If you guys like this video, let me know. Subscribe, do all that stuff, whatever. Give me some feedback of some things I could talk about, or, this is my first time doing this and I want to do it more. There's some other albums that have came out. I think Mustard just dropped an album as I'm recording this, and I'm looking forward to listening to that. I was planning on doing a reaction, but I feel like that's a little ambitious. If you guys would like to see reactions, let me know, and I will do that, because I would like to do that, a live reaction or whatever. I'll put my link to my Twitch in the bio if you guys want to see me stream. Sometimes I do stream video games, and we can just talk about music or whatever. But yeah, so that's it. Shout out to Memphis, and thank you for watching.